record. Hello everyone, welcome to a very, very special video. This is what happened. This is what if Deku was Springtrap.
What's up, guys?
And I have some special guests, as you heard.
It's Dr. Crazy, the What Ifer. Go check me out.
Yeah, go check him out. Go check my boy out. So, in the beginning of the story, we begin 100 years before Quirks even appeared. As Midoriya was there. As a child. William Midoriya, as you will. William Midoriya. Instead of having Hisashi Midoriya, William Midoriya. And why not have Inko Midoriya as well? So, in the beginning, there were no quirks, as at that time they were at the Freddy Fazbear's Entertainment Center, where all children can be happy. All boys and girls can be happy. But something was different, though, about this boy. Midoriya was smarter than the rest of his classmates, as it was a school field trip. There was, people who didn't like him, due to him being smarter than them, of course. And due to them bullying him constantly in class or whatnot, he would gain a multi-personality disorder. And that is where you take in.
Well, Deku had a girlfriend. It was Uraraka's great-great-grandmother. And she actually killed Deku because she was jealous and she didn't love him anymore. Because everybody was making fun of her for dating him. And so she killed him.
So
that's where I get back to the part.
Okay. So before his death, Uraraka's great ancestor, let's call him that, great ancestor, wanted to take little Deku to a room, far away from any adults, apparently. And so in this back room, there are many animatronic heads. Many of them. And as soon as Midoriya walked past the doorway, the lights went out and the door shut, as he was also afraid of the dark. And he walked closer. Is anyone there? And then that's when the lights turned back on. All of his bullies and Uraraka's great ancestor were there in front of him. So, I heard you didn't want this old hag anymore. This flip. I heard you didn't want him anymore, so what shall we do to him? Let's get rid of him. And so the kids decided to playfully put, or forcefully, depending on the way you see it, Deku in an animatronic suit. It's a very old animatronic they wanted to put away. But since they didn't have anywhere else to put it, they had to put it in the parts and service room. An old spring body outfit. Animatronic and outfit combined. So they put him in it. He started to cry as tears rolled down his face. Why is this happening to me? And as everyone laughed at him, but then, as out of nowhere, there was just a complete silence and snap. Something snapped inside the suit, as every part of the spring lock started to crush Izuku, as they were all terrified and ran out the room, turning off the lights and locking the door from the inside. As Midoriya was crushed to death. Would any of you would like to take over?
I would. Then the company didn't want anything to do with it after their story went on. So they threw everything out, including the suit that Deku was killed in. And one day, it was in a random alleyway being thrown away. And that's actually 100 years in the future. Present day, as you would say. And I would like to give back the role of saying things.
As the suit has been there since 100 years, no one decided to move it since it was either too heavy or too hazardous to put on inside the garbage truck. So they just left it there. No one cared for it. But two people cared before that door was locked. His father was worried. He was on his shift, his morning shift, and noticed his little boy was missing. As everything happened, boys started crying, people started crying, as they told, and people, or, well, shall we keep it secret, as the company said, as they kept it secret, quieting everyone. But only two really knew what happened that day. William Midoriya and Inko Midoriya. Or, you would say, her ancestor, I guess. As we're back to the future. As we hear similar music to a specific UA student we know of. As the jamming of music went on, and then this specific person decided to throw away the trash, and they saw, of course, our boy Izuku. As she was curious on what he was doing here, she read a note on it. Spring Bonnie. 1993, why not? So she thought, whoa, that's a very old suit. As then a piece of garbage or a can was under Jiro's foot as she slipped on top of the animatronic. And that is when he has awakened, as eyes white like a soul, and the body dark of coal, arisen. As a humanoid animatronic-like voice yelled out. As over years, the soul of Izuku Midoriya has finally awoken once more, but for vengeance, as his memories weren't fully back with him. And Jiro was, how would you say? Jiro was scared, not knowing what to do. So she poked at the animatronic, and the animatronic grabbed the broom, breaking it in half and getting up. Where am I? As Jiro yelled behind the music store. What time is it? What day is it? What century is it? As Jiro gave out the information, and Midoriya was surprised, shocked. It's been over 100 years since his time of death. As he put his arms on his face, trying to cry, but nothing came out. As he saw his hands, he tried to speak but couldn't, as only the clanking noises was inside of his throat. All you heard was a clanking noise when he tried to speak. So, would any of you like to say anything?
Yes. And Deku saw a piece of paper and a pen. So he started writing to Jiro instead of talking since he couldn't. And he said, I want revenge. Jiro was confused. Then he wrote this. I'm the one that killed me. But Jiro was also confused with that because he looked perfectly alive in the most part. But I'll leave the rest, most of it, to my friends.
So, as vengeance failed Midoriya, Jiro said, "Isn't that your quirk?" And that's when Midoriya was like, "What's a quirk?" Or at least he couldn't say anything, but he gave the reference body motion that he said what was a quirk, having his hands out. As you all heard, was clanking from his voice. And then Jiro explained, not knowing what he said, but understanding him in some sort of way. As he was filled with even more rage and vengeance. He wanted to kill those who had mistreated him. But of course, as a child, still in a child's mind, he didn't know that no one lived forever. But Jiro tried to explain, but Midoriya walked out of the alley, seeing a raggedy trench coat, as you please, on the floor and picking it up, putting it on. Looking, searching for anything. As Midoriya didn't see normally, he saw the spirits, or the color of the spirits that each person had. Each having their own vivid color. As he continued to walk for several days and nights. As there was nothing he could find. Until for some reason he went back. Due to, how would you say, people saying that there was suspicious activity in the area. So he went back to the music shop as he was about to close. As Jiro was about to flip the sign to say close. And that's when she saw a hand on the door. As Jiro let Midoriya in. As they talked and explained what happened to each other. One had died and one was only about 15. 14, 15-ish, 16. About. And was ready to go to UA. Or at least there was a 10-month to go to UA to train.
May I?
Yes, you may.
But one day, he didn't find Jiro. He thought she must have went to school. But no.
Yeah, practically. Yeah, that's on point. Yeah, you're on point.
But no. The same thing that happened to Azuki, you may say, happened to Jiro, but just in a different suit. She was killed. And the person that killed her didn't know what to do with her body. So they just put her in a random suit.
Are you gonna continue or should I?
I'll do it.
Okay.
But But Zuko knew that if she was put inside a suit, it would awaken her. And Zuko did. And now they could perfectly understand each other. Perfectly. And I'll let my friends carry on.
As the revengeance of finding the person who killed Jiro are risen, as a red aura filled the alleyway behind, how would you say, Star Mart, or where you would say the Glam Rocks were at. One of the suits was unprepared, so they had to throw the suit away in the alleyway, and that is the same suit Jiro was wearing. So, what they did was they planned. Of course, Jiro was first terrified of what she might become, or what she would do next, and what her parents would do or think of. As she was now Glam Rock Roxanne, a wolf, precisely. They walked to a certain location that Midori has been in his past. And this was the rundown Freddy Fazbear Entertainment Pizzeria. They spent their time trying to fix the place up. As there is one room, specific room, that was locked. As Midoriya grabbed an axe that was nearby, a rusted, shady axe, that he smashed the chains to open the door. As he saw the bloodstains that were still there all those years. As he explained to Jiro, "This is where I died." As she tried to cry as well, but she couldn't. Both of them couldn't. All they had to do now was find the people that killed them. The vengeance, the red aura that filled their room, the entire pizzeria, was like a burning stove. So vengeance of both began as they walked endless days for a complete month of the 10 months they walked. They found and decided to put on human clothing at least, so they can look human at least, so they won't be suspected of being villains, you'd say. So they decided to become vigilantes, killing criminals and ridding the world. Of course, in that certain area of the city, no criminals were found in the darkness pots. Or at least in that main block, there are no criminals. But in that complete area, there are many. Near the pizzeria, there's nothing but corpses of dead bodies.
May I?
Yes, you will.
And one day, while they were walking back to the pizzeria with another body, they noticed something. There were more bodies than usual. They went inside and they found someone. Her name was Toga. And they got frightened for a second, but they realized something. She wasn't there to hurt them, just other people. So they got off guard. And Toga actually did try to attack them, and she died. But there was an extra animatronic suit. so they stuck her inside. They wanted company.
So,
That's where I'll leave up.
so after her death, instead of being sad, she was pending on her thoughts as if this was her great uncle's death spot. Or you would say, how he died. And Himiko Toga did ring a bell in Izuku's mind, as only a true friend will know that name. More like Nora Toga. Nora Toga was the great ancestor of Himiko Toga, who liked Deku but was too shy to show, and went on a murderous rampage. But no one knew it was her, though, as their family secret of murdering those who had killed Izuku went on. And she passed like everyone else. And now, in the present timeline, all three of them were full of vengeance, you would say. So, what shall we do? I want to go somewhere to kill someone. What is it, Toga? What is it? I want to go to a certain someone. Bakugo Katsuki. He may have not been in the killings those many years ago, but he was a friend of the friends, not directly involved, but on the sidelines. He may not have killed you, but he was still on the sidelines. He was still on the sidelines. He didn't do anything. That is why Toga was angry. Her great-grandmother made a journal made of leather. So the only thing they could have done was wait until the perfect time. And to the point, they wanted nothing more than vengeance. They waited and waited. And as they finally stopped walking, they found a boy with very spiky hair bullying someone. And as normal, he ran after them. Bakugo was a very misunderstood child. People thought just because he had a quirk, they should praise him like a god, but what they didn't know is that he knew what his ancestor did, and he didn't like it, not one bit. So he, instead of this being an angry Pomeranian in canon timeline, he was, how would you say, calm. Still a angry Pomeranian, but a lot more calmer. He would only bully those who bullied others. Like a bully's bully. And so as the time came, as Bakugo went to his room in his house, he noticed something was different about his room. Like something was about to happen. But he just shivered and continued on his day, about to go to sleep, closing the door. And as soon as he went to go to sleep and looked at his doorway, there were 3 animatronics there who wanted nothing more but answers. Of course, there is one way. Do any of you have anything to say? I see. Okay. So as I continued, that interrogation, as you please. Interrogation. Bakugo was terrified, outright terrified of what happened and what could have happened. So what he did, he couldn't do anything. Before he was captured or interrogated, he tried to use his quirk. He tried to use his quirk, but it did nothing to the metal in the bolts, spring locks. Would you like to say anything, friend? The silence. I see. And so, there was only screams from his room. But due to awakened quirk from Jiro, it was a silent quirk, able to silence any noise in the room-based length. And that is where I'm going to end this what if. Hopefully you can go to subscribe to Dr. Crazy. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.